What's up, guys? Rick from DFS On Demand here with something a little new. This is a golf betting preview for the Rocket Mortgage Classic. I've never done one of these to date. We've just kind of worked any odds into the DFS video, but now with sports betting becoming legalized in more states, and it's clearly where the future is going. Along with DFS, I think both really help each other hand in hand. I might start making some more sports betting videos. So I wanted to at least create one this week for the Rocket Mortgage. It'll be relatively quick compared to some of my other videos, but let me know what you think, if this is valuable to you. This might evolve week over week. We'll see how it goes. So let's get into this a little bit, and we'll talk about the top of the board. What I see right now are Dustin Johnson as the favorite at 6-1, with Ricky Fowler, Gary Woodland at 12-1, and then Hideki Matsuyama at 14-1. It's very, very clear that Dustin Johnson is the best player in the field. I don't think anyone's arguing that. But looking at it from a pure value standpoint, 6-1, DJ's got to win this tournament like 14, 15% of the time. I'm not sure that he does that. He's by far the most likely to win it, but he might be closer to like 9 or 10%. It's really hard for any golfer at 6-1 to find their value and win here. So let me see. I actually went back and looked this up because I wanted to see how often someone with shorter odds than 10-1 went and won the event. So this year alone, there are 23 events where a golfer was was shorter than 10-1. So 9-1, 8-1, 7-1, etc. Of those 23 times, none of them have gone on to actually win the golf tournament. Now, I know that this is, past performance does not dictate future finishes, of course. DJ himself is 0 for 7 in these situations this year. The RBC Canadian, he was shorter than 10-1. I believe that's the most recent example. So it's just really hard for these guys to hit their value over time. Now, if you want to play some of these big boys, I do think there is still some value in Gary Woodland at 12-1, and I'll show you why here. I mentioned this in the DFS video, and I probably mentioned it in the one and done video as well, but this guy just absolutely destroys par fives. He's got the best par five scoring average in the field. He's got one of the best par four scoring averages in the field. His birdie or better rate is great. Awesome on approaches, awesome off the tee. Obviously coming off of his US Open win makes it even that much sweeter. I mean, he's playing well. Seems like a really good spot to get him. Last checked at 12-1. After that, I think there's a case to be made for Ryan Moore, who I was a heavy investor in. I got Moore at 50-1 last week, and then after the first round, was it after the first round or second round? I re-upped at 100-1. So I was a heavy investor, did not pan out, but I liked that bet. He is the type of guy who would excel at a course where you're going to have to drive the ball very well. You're going to have to hit a lot of greens, and there's a lot of par fives. That's right up Ryan Moore's alley. But the next guy where I'm actually firing a click is probably Joaquin Niemann. I'm seeing him at 40-1. It's funny. A year ago, we were all on board with, Joaquin Niemann being the next best thing, right? We were saying, oh, he's 8 starts in. If he had enough rounds to qualify, he'd be like, number one in every statistical category, which would have been true. Then he realized, golf is very, very hard. So he's been on a bad run. He actually has not had a top 8 finish in basically a year until last week's Travelers. Now, when you look forward to this week, the greens at TPC River Highlands seem to be very similar to what they're going to get this week at Detroit Golf Club. Niemann playing well tee to green, which he always does. The flat stick is always the issue. Now, in very recent terms, he's gained strokes in 5 of his last 6 rounds. If he keeps that going this week, he has the game to kind of hang with anybody. And then I want to wrap up. I told you this was going to be quick, with just a few long shots here, because I actually think this is where a lot of the value is in this field that has never seen Detroit Golf Club. I think it's wide open. No real course history to go off of. So I think it brings a lot of these longer shots back into play. So let me pull up something here really quick for you, because I want to show off a couple of these guys here. All right, so what you're looking at is the round by round live leaderboard last week. And if you look at Thursday only, Andrew Landry led the field tee to green. If you look at Saturday only, Andrew Landry was 7th in the field in tee to green. It was the other two rounds that hurt him. He just didn't end up playing that well. He ended up, I think, like 15th in tee to green, but lost a ton of strokes putting. But what I love about this, and I actually fired Andrew Landry for a first round leader bet as well, because when you have a guy who is able to tap into that much upside, there are a lot of guys, and Landry's 150 to 1 to win this event. I think he's 100 to 1 in first round leader. There are not a lot of guys in this range that can tap into their ceiling like Andrew Landry does. A lot of these guys don't even have the ceiling to be the number one player in the field on a given round. Andrew Landry obviously does. He was a past winner last year. Obviously has the game. I will probably be playing him a lot on DraftKings. I fired a bet on him at 150. I put a first round leader bet on him as well. And then lastly, while we're on the live leaderboard, there is one other name, if you see it down here, and it's Sepp Straka. So I fired Straka at 200 to 1. I'm not sure if he's still there at the moment. I can check pretty quickly, but I fired him at 200 to 1 for, again, that tee to green game. So if you look at this leaderboard, you'll notice that Straka was like 16th in this field. Yeah, he's still 200 to 1. 16th in this field tee to green last week. I'm going to pause for a second to let that soak in. Straka missed the cut. Okay. So in 2 rounds, that's a cumulative stat. He gained more strokes tee to green in 2 rounds than like the entire field did in 4. He was better tee to green than Keegan Bradley, who ended up finishing in second place. That's just a really interesting, like, to lose that many putting is not probably going to happen over and over again. I have concerns that Straka can put 4 rounds together. Again, I did bet him as a first round leader as well, but 200 to 1 in a field that's wide open with no course history from a guy who in 2 rounds last week played really well to get to the green and then punted it all away. I think it's worth a click or two. Throw a couple bucks on it. So that's it. I wanted to keep this one short and sweet because I wanted to just feel it out for if this was valuable. It's something that I think we'll dive deeper into in the future. We might do some matchups. We might do, again, I like the first round leader stuff. I like tournament matchups. I like the single round matchups. So just as we continue to talk more about different aspects of golf in general, this show might be making a greater appearance, but I want to hear from you. Let me know what you think. Tweet me. It's at DFS On Demand, or leave a comment below. I'll talk to you guys later. Good luck.